So one of the things that I struggle with and still struggle with to this day is my perfectionism, right? I feel like throughout most of my life, I had this idea that whatever it is I was doing, I sort of have to do it perfectly, quote unquote perfectly. Because if I don't do it that way, then I don't sort of feel happy with myself. I don't feel content, right? And I told the story before of when I was in the ninth grade. And you know how they have like those student teacher conferences where your teacher calls you up and they sort of tell you where you're going right in class, where you could improve on, stuff like that, right? I remember my teacher calling me up, and in my mind, I was the perfect student, right? There's nothing that I could sort of pinpoint to say I felt short on. There's nothing that I could say that I needed to improve on because my grades were perfect and, I was the quote unquote perfect student, right? And I remember my teacher calling me up, excuse me if it gets kind of dark, kind of walking under some shade. I remember my teacher calling me up, right? And I was sort of expecting to only hear good things, only hear positive things. And so she spoke positively for a while. And then she said to me, the one thing that I would say you need to improve on, the one thing that I would say you need to get better at is not being so much of a perfectionist, right? And in my mind, I couldn't understand, sort of why this was a bad thing. In my mind, I couldn't understand why being so much of a perfectionist, was going to sort of hold me back in life. Now, as I got older, I really began to realize what she was talking about in that moment. I began to realize how much of my life that I put on pause, how much of me feeling good about myself I kind of held back because of my perfectionism, right? I remember even last week, I did a video out here, right? And at the end of that video, I didn't really feel good about it. At the end of the video, I felt like I could have done better. I felt like my energy was low throughout that whole video. And I kind of found myself critiquing myself harshly. I thought to some degree the video that I made, people are probably gonna watch it and kind of feel bored, because I'm not high energy or not, I didn't feel like to some degree it it matched my standard, to say the least, right? But even though it didn't match my standard, it was the best I could do in the moment. It was the best I could give, right? And then I said to myself, I did my best. Last week on that day, I was feeling kind of low energy. I was feeling like, just a bit under the weather, right? But what I had to give that day was the best. And if I gave my best, truly gave my best, then my best should be enough, right? That's what I said to myself. And I think when it comes on to life, a lot of us do struggle with this idea of being perfect or doing a certain thing perfectly, quote unquote, because there's no such thing. And we believe that whenever we're working towards something or whatever it is that we're doing, it kind of has to fit the idea that we have in our minds, right, of how it should turn out. And when it doesn't turn out that way, we begin to sort of undermine ourselves and we begin to sort of belittle or devalue ourselves and we don't feel good about ourselves, right? But when it comes on to life, life is really simple. We very often just complicate it. When it comes on to life, all you have to really do in every moment of life is to show up, give your best, and let go of the rest. That's truly it. That's all you have to do when it comes on to life. And your best should be good enough for you, even if it isn't good enough for anyone else. your best should be good enough for you. I really do think, a big reason why a lot of us feel as if our best isn't good enough for us is simply because we're taking action from performance rather than expression, right? And what I mean by that is when we're doing something, let's say we're working towards a project, we're working towards something that we're passionate about, in our minds, we're sort of thinking, what are people going to think about this thing that I'm working on? Are people going to think it's good enough? I have to sort of put on a show to make sure that people think, it's good enough or it matches a certain standard, right? And I'm not saying, it's completely wrong to sort of consider how you want a certain thing to turn out. But to some degree, whenever we're focused on how it's going to look to the external world, we don't even really come to the point in which we really sort of, I guess, think about if it's in alignment with our expression, right? Whenever we're sort of so over focused on how a certain thing that we're working towards is going to look to the outside world, we never truly take the time to ask ourselves, how do I feel about this thing that I'm doing, right? We never truly take the time to ask ourselves, am I doing my best? Am I showing up as my best, right? And I think that takes away from a lot of the work that we're doing, you know? And when it comes on to really doing your best, your best is going to vary, right? It's kind of dark on this side. Your best, excuse me, isn't going to be this constant thing, right? It's not going to be the same every single day. I kind of like to use the gym analogy, right? Sometimes you go in the gym and you can bench press 225. Sometimes you go in the gym, trying to find a good lighting. Sometimes you go in the gym and you can only do 205 or 200, right? So your best is never truly going to be the same every single day, right? But whatever it is that you have to do or what you have to give in that day, be content with it. Be proud of it. Don't undermine your best just because you feel as if it doesn't compare to what you had to give the previous days, right? Be proud of your best in every single moment of life. Be proud of it, right? Affirm yourselves on the day in which you don't feel as if you're at 100%. Affirm yourselves on the day in which you feel as if, you're kind of under the weather, right? You don't feel as upbeat or as confident as the other days, right? Speak life into yourself, especially on those days, right? And that's something that I had to gradually learn to do. That's something that I had to learn to do over time. And, I'm still working on my perfectionism, right? I'm still working on trying to, in a sense, get over it and just show up and do my best. And I'm realizing that it truly is a journey, right? It's something that you have to work on every single day. And I'm starting to realize that if you go through life and simply do your best, then that's when things truly begin to work out in your favor. The more you go through life and you do your best and you let go of the rest, meaning you don't try to force a certain outcome, right? If you're doing something, you don't force a certain outcome because you understand that there are certain things within your control and there are certain things that are not in your control, right? Like all we can ever control is what we put in. The output, the fruit, what comes of it is never truly in our control, right? That's something that is reserved for whatever it is that you want to believe in, your universe, God, source, creator, the Tao, whatever it is that you want to conceptualize that thing as. The outcome is really left up to, that thing, right? It's not in our control. So why do we stress so much about thinking that things have to be a certain way? Why do we put so much focus in trying to control things? Why not just give our best and trust the rest, right? I was thinking about even the concept of trust the other day. And I was thinking that true trust is really letting go, right? True trust is not holding on, right? True trust is understanding that there's something working in our favor. There's something working in our highest good. And if we show up every day and do give our best, and we know when we're giving our best, right? We can't bullshit ourselves. If we show up every day and do give our best, then ultimately this thing that we believe in or want to conceptualize it as, right, is going to inevitably bring us the outcome that we truly desire. That's truly it. That's all we truly have to do. Focus on what is in our control. Focus on what we put in and really let go of the rest, right? That's truly all we have to do. You know, a lot of our suffering, a lot of our unhappiness with ourselves and with life comes from thinking that we're in control, right? Comes from thinking that if a outcome doesn't happen the way in which we expect it to happen or when we expect it to happen, then that means that we are not good enough. And the truth is that you can put all the effort, you can put into a thing that you're working on, right? Let's say you're a person that is making YouTube videos. You can stay up all night working on that YouTube video. You can stay up all night, working on um, a certain project or whatever it is, right? You can put all the effort you want into it, but the fruits, the result is never up to you. And that's something that a lot of us find it hard to accept, right? And I think the more we let go, the more we trust, is the more things begin to work out for us, right? I think if you're forcing a certain outcome, if you believe that you have to struggle for a certain outcome to happen, then all you're doing is postponing that outcome, because when it comes down to the universe and the laws of the universe can never truly give us what we think we lack. So if we're working towards being successful, I think a key part of being successful is recognizing that we're successful where we are. Is recognizing that success isn't something that we chase externally, but success is something that we claim internally. And then the world will begin to shift to reflect the success that we hold within ourselves, right? You know, even when it comes on to finding a certain relationship, finding love, it's about recognizing that that love exists within you, right? You are love. You're the embodiment of that love. And whatever love that you manifest externally is simply because you already held that love within you internally, right? Everything is a projection or a reflection of what we hold internally. And once you begin to recognize that, begin to realize that you can allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you desire to feel in the moment, right? When it comes down to life, all we truly desire, all we truly want is the feeling of something. The reason we want success is because we want the feeling of success. The reason we want love is to experience the feeling of love, right? But those things don't have to be dependent on the external. Those things don't have to be dependent on the outcome. Those things can be as a result of our being, as a result of simply doing our best and being present with whatever it is that we're doing, right? I've always said, let the action be the result itself. Let whatever it is that you're doing be the result, right? And once you allow it to be the result, you begin to realize that happiness and joy and all those things can be found wherever you are. And they don't have to be dependent on the outcome, right? Allowing the outcome to unfold as a result of you being content without it. That to me is the true secret to success and the true secret to life and having all that we desire, right? But all we can do in any moment is to give our best. All we can do in any moment is to show up, give our best, and let go of the rest. And trust the universe, trust source, trust God, trust life if you don't believe in anything. Trust that it will bring you the outcome in the perfect manner and in the right way. Because the truth is that we never truly know what outcome is best for us, right? Right? We know what we desire, right? We know type of person that we might want on the surface. But I think to me, the soul the unseen aspect of ourselves, know what we truly are deeply desire more than what we think we desire, right? And I've experienced this in my life. And I've experienced circumstances in which I thought I desired a certain thing, desired a certain outcome, and then I didn't get that outcome. And then further down the line, further down in the future, I began to realize that that outcome was never truly for me, right? And this is where trust comes in. If something doesn't work out how you expect it to work out, if you don't get a particular result, there's a reason for that, right? There's a reason for you not to get a certain thing. As long as you show up and give your best, right? You give your best and you let go of the rest, and whatever comes of it is whatever that was meant to come of it, right? That's what I'm truly begin to realize when it comes on to life. You never truly know how something is going to play out. You never truly know the right outcome, right? You never truly know how it's meant to play out. So all we can do is to give our best and trust. Your best should be good enough for you, right? You don't have to go to the world feeling like you have to impress your family, impress your friends. You don't have to any of those things. You can be happy with yourself where you are. You can be content with yourself where you are because you know that you're giving it your all. The external never defines us. The success that we're chasing after isn't the true measurement of our worth. Our worth is there. Our worth is present whether or not we're driving the car, whether or not we have a certain amount of money in our bank accounts. Our worth is independent of anything external, right? It's about recognizing that. And once you begin to recognize that, you stop chasing after results and you start embodying all that it is that you desire externally, right? If you want to experience the feeling of love, recognize that you are worthy of love and you already are love and you are love personified wherever you are, whether or not you have that person to show you that, right? If you want success, allow yourself to embody that success. Feel successful just from doing your best, right? Because success isn't something that is external to us. Success is something that we embody internally, right? So whatever it is that we want to feel, we can feel it in the act of doing. Whatever it is that we want to feel, we can feel it in the now. It doesn't have to be dependent on anything external. We don't have to feel inadequate or feel as if we're not good enough if, we don't get a certain thing, right? We can feel good with ourselves and just from doing our best. And so this is probably gonna be a short outdoor video today. Um, yeah, I just came out here to make this video real quick. And to just say, if you're watching this and you've been feeling inadequate about yourself, if you've been watching this and you feel as if, you know, your best isn't good enough, then just know that your best is always good enough. And when it comes down to life, it's truly simple. All you have to do is to show up and give your best in whatever it is that you're doing. That's truly all you have to do. The outcome is never truly up to you. You can give all the best you can, but the when and the how it unfolds is never up to you. And so trusting that something, damn, it's loud as hell. Trusting that something is working in your favor. Trusting that the outcome is on its way and you don't have to force it, right? All you have to do is simply do your best and allow it. That is what's going to bring you a lot of peace and a lot of fulfillment in this life. But if you believe that your best isn't good enough, and you're always going to be, in a place of discontent with yourself, you're always going to feel unhappy, and overall, you're going to feel as if you're not good enough. But your best is always enough. It truly is, right? And if you truly do your best consistently, you do your best, you show up in life, you give what you have to give from your expression, not from needing a certain outcome, but you do everything that you're doing just because, it's an expression of who you are, and you trust, you have faith, which faith is really just conviction. If you trust and you have faith and you do your best, then the outcome will come of its own. And things will begin to work out in your favor in the perfect manner and in the right way. But you never truly know how something is going to turn out. And very often we can get in the way of how it is meant to turn out. So keep doing your best. Show up, do your best. If what you have to give isn't up to par with yesterday, then see it as good enough, right? If what you have to give today, you know, is less than yesterday, be content with it and try to do better tomorrow. Try to do better the next day, right? That's all you have to do. But your best is always good enough, right? And you don't need a certain outcome to feel as if you're worthy or you're good enough. You're good enough wherever you are, right? Thank you guys for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings.